Good morning, everyone. I guess we are no strangers. Susie is a good community partner and friend of ours in June, and we've been here several times for various initiatives, including mental wellness exhibitions, Caregiver Appreciation Day. Very glad that Ms. Irene Chong, CEO and founder of Meet Arts, who is also a dear friend from my alumni days. Also like to say thank you and welcome to our friends from the Singapore Prison Service and Yellow Ribbon, also our close community partners, all here today who are, I guess, artist friends, the supporters, our residents, and I'm very glad to be here after a rather hectic morning, because the energy, like what Alan was saying, is really very important, and Susie has a wonderful energy about it. And I think we often underestimate the role of beauty in our lives and how much it can help to soothe our spirit, especially in Singapore where most people live rather hectic and stressful lives. So it's really wonderful that we are celebrating the very vibrant local art scene in recent years with this Art Carnival, Arts in Action. I actually hope that I can stay a little longer to admire the art pieces out there, or I can come by another day, because it really means a lot to me. I think in Singapore we have, in many ways, emphasized a lot of our academic, cognitive, cerebral intelligences, and I think most people who are not in this community, in this circle today, do not pay very much attention to the arts. And without realizing that we're missing out on a very big part of life. Because art can evoke a lot of introspection. It can express what words often cannot express. And it helps to take care of our emotional self and our spirit self. So the art scene in Singapore is a tapestry that has been woven with the threads of a lot of cultural diversity and innovation in these years, and also many talented artistic brilliance that I see in our local artists. I try to make some time whenever I can to visit a museum or an art gallery, or to attend an arts performance once in a while, simply because it really helps to rejuvenate my spirit. And for those of us who are privileged to enjoy these offerings, I think we testify to them. But it's not often that we get to enjoy good art in neighborhoods like Chu, where most people and most residents are very busy with bread and butter issues. So I'm very glad to have Meet Arts come here to bring this exhibition here. In MOE, someone mentioned, MC mentioned about my work in advocating for mindful parenting. So I engage with children and youth, and I engage with their parents as well, to emphasize that as we progress as a humanity, we need to evolve beyond our traditional ideas and notion of efficiency and productivity. To recognize how the human experience is so much more diverse in depth, deeper in depth and diverse in breadth than often what we give our attention to, which is on academic performance or even career performance. So I've been giving talks. I've been talking to parents, residents, to encourage parents to allow and bring their children to experience more of the things that we have around us, such as nature, such as art, such as the beauty in our human interactions and relationships, which we can find in volunteerism. And like Ms. Irene Chong embodies in herself, because I know she's been a very passionate volunteer in many circles for many years. So internationally, Singapore has been an ardent supporter and presenter of our local artists and arts organizations in various showcases and events, like the Singapore Pavilion at the Paris Biennale. And I think we are constantly striving to create greater platforms for our local artists to showcase their talents and to put Singapore's name out in the world. And this is part of an ongoing, I think, many years effort to foster cultural exchange and collaboration. And I think art is events like the Singapore Pavilion at the Venice Biennale. And I think we are constantly striving to create greater platforms for our local artists to showcase their talents and to put Singapore's name out in the world. And this is part of an ongoing, I think, many years effort to foster cultural exchange and collaboration. And I think art is also one of the ways we try to engage in diplomacy with our various neighbors and other countries as well. So such efforts, such as through the Memorandum of Understanding with renowned organizations like the Australia Council for Arts, British Council, Embassy of France, we have facilitated many cultural exchanges for our artists. And this is our way of bringing Singapore's voice and Singapore's unique identity out into the world. And I think when we foster this kind of bridges, our artists also get a chance to interact, to network, and to learn and exchange with artists from other countries. And I think in a small little country like ours, what is most important is that we make it an intentional endeavor to constantly broaden our own horizons and perspectives. I visit South Korea quite frequently for some of my healing programs, and so I'm able to see and observe the difference between a homogeneous society and one that is diverse like ours. Indeed, in Singapore, because of the many different cultural backgrounds that we have, we are a lot more open-minded than a society where people are very similar and homogeneous. Why do I bring that up? When our minds are open, we are better able to appreciate and understand other people's perspectives, and to foster within us the openness and empathy to foster respect, tolerance, or even embracing differences. Whereas I did not see that in highly homogeneous societies. And how is that an impact on our young people? When I think the younger generation faces constraints from the older generation, where they feel like they're not able to express themselves or to explore different paths or ideas or channels in life, then we run into a situation where there might be a lot of suppression of feelings or repression of feelings that then contributes to mental ill health, right? So I believe that the arts helps to offer a space for our young people to channel their energies and to also to learn from the spirit and the perspectives of other artists. It's an arena where it stretches us, allows us to indulge our creativity and imagination that we often cannot in, I guess, like very book or structured ways of curriculum that we often see in exam-based or test-based environments. So I'm very glad to be able to come here today and lend my support and voice for our emerging artists. And I know that for many artists in Singapore, it is not easy. It is still a road less chosen, but I hope you find that the path, compared to the past, I hope that the path you see now is wider and it leads to more places than before. The events like this, such as the Art Carnival, helps us to connect with one another through a very different medium. And sometimes this kind of interactions is hard to describe. I was very amazed by what Alan said, how when he puts an intention, a certain feeling, a certain objective he wants to convey through his art, he's able to channel that energy onto a canvas, which is beautiful, by the way, and for the viewer to look at it and be connected with Alan. And in that exchange, even though he may not be physically in the same space, his intention that and energy that he's channeling through his art is felt by all who view his art. And that is the, I think, very profound kind of interaction that human beings have missed out on because we are so focused and putting our attention on doing a lot of things instead of enjoying the presence of those around us, whether it's people or nature or beauty. So I'm going a lot off script because this is more of my personal sharing, and but I think it's also falling in line with the message that the organizers would like to convey. And I guess what I would like to share is that I welcome the arts community to be here in Yishun Mall. I wish I had more bandwidth and time to steer it more intentionally, but often we rely on our team of volunteers. And even though it might be moving rather slowly, because I remember 2.5 years ago, my first, what they call the maiden speech in Parliament, I spoke about the arts. It's been weighing on my heart that I haven't been able to do very much for it, so I was very glad that Irene came forward and shared with me that she would like to bring this event to Yishun. And I will encourage more of our residents to come, to bring their children, and I hope those who enjoy and love art, who are in this space, or who will be coming in the following weeks, will give their ardent support to the artists. It's a shame, I find personally, that people often value art after the artist is gone. I don't understand it. I guess there's a strange dynamic about that, but I think we need to learn to value what is present before us. And we need to learn to appreciate our artists while they are here with us, and to give them our strongest support so that we can support them and enable them to develop and hone their craft so that we can deliver more pieces of beauty that will help us in our lives. So thank you.